The Minnesota Vikings do have the best fans in the NFL, no cap. And the Vikings are one of the loudest and proudest. And, we don't hang our heads after one game, after a global pandemic. Yeah, and I do understand all teams had to deal with the baloney, but teams are going to handle it differently. Can the Vikings rally and right the ship? Probably. Right. So, remember 2017 season when it was all over, when Case Keenum looked like ass? Week 2 against the Steelers when he came in for Sammy Sleeves. Remember that? How'd that one end up? Huh? Well, not great. I digress. But yesterday was weird because there's basically no fans. There's a couple fans. There's basically no fans allowed at US Bank Stadium. And around the league, I understand it was a national storyline. There was only one home team on Sunday that was allowed to have fans in the stadium. That was the Jaguars. Duval. I wonder if Yannick is regretting things the way that the Jaguars played yesterday. I digress. But with the Vikings fans, the same energy, the same juice that you get from every single Packers-Vikings game, it just wasn't there. And as a kid growing up, my dad took me to every single home Vikings-Packers game. And, even at the Dome, even at TCF Bank Stadium, even at US Bank Stadium, there's just something different about the atmosphere. And it trickles down to the field of play. It does. Like the tailgating, the energy, all the skull chants, the Gallahorn, when they usually play it, it fires things up, and it trickles down to the players as well. They feed off of that. You've heard players talk about, you've heard Everson, you've heard B-Rob, you've heard Harrison Smith talk about how the home crowd does feed that team, especially the defense, and that team looked flat as hell, especially the defense. And the team often feeds off the energy of the crowd, especially that D under the Zimmer regime. And you saw absolutely none of that. Zip, nada on Sunday, except for Kendricks and Harrison at times. And Aaron Rodgers, here's the crazy thing. So it basically was a scrimmage. It was target practice for Rodgers. Rodgers got 3 Vikings to jump off sides with his hard count when he is on the road. Are you kidding me? Are you honestly kidding me? If in any normal Vikings-Packers home game, Aaron Rodgers getting that hard count off, it's not going to happen. Well, maybe with Everson, it would. Ain't going to happen, right? But do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you realize that this was turned into a neutral site game? This is basically turned into a home game for the Packers as the offense was allowed to operate with impunity, with no noise whatsoever. I understand that the entire league is facing this, but this is baloney. This is horse poop, right? And along with no crowd noise, the Packers were allowed to easily call plays at the line of scrimmage. This does blow the mind. They mentioned this on the telecast. The Packers went to the line, they saw the coverage, picked a play, and again, we're not talking about just simple audibling with hand signals and whatnot. We're talking about actually, literally calling the play at the line of scrimmage. You can't do that when there's 100 decibels of Minnesota passive aggressiveness raining down on you in that Pyrex glass dish of US Bank Stadium. You can't do that. Yeah. So also, combine that with no pass rush as well as young cornerbacks. Yikes. Yeah. And also, the crowd noise does help the pass rush because it just gives you just a little extra tick for Yannick, for Afadi to be able to get off. Doesn't help that David Bakhtiari was jumping and holding in every single play, but I digress there. But everything was part and parcel of why that defense stunk yesterday. Well, A, the defense stunk, but also the lack of crowd just giving that slight edge. There's a reason why home teams are always spotted 3 points in terms of Vegas betting lines, and that was gone. It was absolutely gone yesterday. And also, the biggest horse bleep part of this is that the Packers will very likely have fans at their Vikings home game week 8. They will, right? Because they already said no fans in Lambeau first 2 weeks. It's like the Packers in the 80s when the team was very bad because those teams do have very fair weather fans. I'll just say it. As well as they said that they'll reevaluate for the home game. Well, shocker, the third home game is week 8 when the Vikings come in. So even if it's minimal, maybe if it's 20, 25, 30% capacity, that is still a monster competitive advantage. And it's something that the NFL completely ignored. The rule should have been that, hey, if you have teams in division, whatever the lowest amount of fans allowed is, that's what's going to be for both games, right? So you have a situation, and this is going to happen league-wide too, where the Vikings have that advantage of home fans, even a minimal amount. That is taken away, but it's just given to the Packers. Okay, Sure. And yes, again, saying this for the 17th time, all teams have to deal with this. But given the glorious leadership here in Minneapolis and the state, I don't see the fan policy changing anytime soon. I don't. And honestly, it would shock me if the Vikings. It would not shock me at all if the Vikings are the last team in the NFL to allow fans in the stadium, or if they don't allow them at all this season. And also, that includes the Jets, Giants, and Bills, right? So the Vikings, they're going to have to figure this out. Like, they are going to have to figure out for these next 7 home games, as well as whatever home games are in the playoffs. Nailed it. Are going to happen because they're going to have to figure out how to generate some juice on their own, because you do have 2 more home games before the bye week. You have week 3, you have the Titans coming in. Week 6, you have Atlanta coming in, and the Titans. Yeah, Tannehill's no great shakes, but yes, he did have the 3rd highest rated quarterback season in NFL history last year. Also, Derrick Henry is going to be pounding the Vikings interior. Yeah, as well as the Falcons still have Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and Matt Ryan has been playing at a recently at a very high MVP adjacent level. So it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to be less than, it is going to be pretty less than ideal, but they got to figure this thing out, because every single home game, if that's a neutral site game, or even giving advantage to the other side because there is no crowd noise when the other team's on offense, it's going to be tough. But either way, figure your ish out. All right, so your thoughts. Vikings need the fans back in US Bank Stadium. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.